Hello, everyone. My name is Abid. I'm here to talk about some of the new shortcut APIs that we have that is available now for public preview. So before I get started here, I'm going to do a quick summary of what shortcuts are. So hopefully you've been able to use shortcuts over the last couple of months, but essentially keyboard shortcuts are a way to assign shortcut combinations to any add-in actions that you have. So this is talking about just in Excel for now, and you can use keyboard shortcuts to do many actions, anything that your add-in can do already today. So things like opening and closing the task pane, fetching data for the current cell, applying any kind of formatting to a cell, or opening a dialog or resetting settings or anything within the runtime of your add-in. So this capability has been out now for about 6 months. If you have any questions about keyboard shortcuts or you haven't been able to try them out, please do go ahead and click on the links on this slide. We have a sample up, a short PnP that shows you how keyboard shortcuts work, and as well as our documentation for keyboard shortcuts. But the main reason I'm here today is to talk about some of our customization APIs that we are now introducing for public preview. So there are 3 new APIs that are coming out. And all of these are going to be part of the new Keyboard Shortcuts 1.1 requirement set. So if you have any questions about, hey, what versions of Excel can I use this requirement set for? Go ahead and click that requirement set link in the slide, and it will give you exact details on where this is available. But for folks that are excited to use this, let's go ahead and talk about each of these and how they can help you manage the set of shortcuts that you may have for your add-in. All right, I went backwards. Here we go. All right, the very first API we have is called replaceShortcuts. So essentially, this is the bulk of customization. This allows you to change that shortcut combination that you may have defined in your extended manifest file, right? So your extended manifest file is the file that you're linking in your manifest that includes your original set of all the different shortcut combinations. Now you can use office.actions.replaceShortcuts, and all you do is feed it that action ID and any new shortcut combination that you would like to replace whatever you have had in the extended manifest file. The small caveat here is that you can't create new shortcuts on the go, right? So you can only customize the shortcuts that you have already previously defined in your manifest. And the value that you put into this API, it has to be a string that defines that custom shortcut combination. So you can see in the example here, we are changing the combinations for the show task pane and hide task pane actions to Control-Shift-1 and Control-Shift-2. And it's a very simple API call, and you can send in a whole list of shortcut customizations at once. One thing I do want to call out is this is going to be saved per user, per platform. So if you are calling this operation for a certain user that is already logged into Office, we're going to be saving it in that user's roaming settings. So if they go from one Windows machine to another Windows machine, they will have these customizations there for them. But they are saved per platform. So that means if they're switching from Windows to web, you will need to call this customization API again to make sure that you're synced across the different platforms. And the main reason for that is there are some small areas where web has different shortcuts than Windows. So we want to make sure that flexibility is still there for you to account for that. And then the last thing is the value that you send in, the actual shortcut combination. It can also be null. And what that does is just remove any previous customizations that you may have set for that shortcut action. So this is probably the API that you'll be using the most. replaceShortcuts. If you have any questions, do let us know in the chat. The second API that we are introducing is getShortcuts, right? So you can imagine that as you're making these customizations for your user, you want to know exactly what customizations this user has made in the past, and then be able to actually show that to the user, or at least use that for your own information. So what getShortcuts is going to do is going to essentially just return to you every single shortcut that the current user can currently use, right? So This can change over the course of the lifetime that the user is using your add-in. Of course, things can happen. So for example, if a shortcut conflicts with other add-ins and they see that small conflict dialog pop up and they choose to disable the shortcut for your add-in, the value that's returned with that action is going to be null. Because right now there's no shortcut combination the user can use to invoke that action, right? So this list is going to return everything that the user can currently use as shortcut combinations. The second source that you can be getting information from is if you have previously used that replaceShortcuts API to customize a shortcut, this getShortcuts API is going to return any new customized shortcuts for this user. And then, of course, the third option is if there has been no conflicts and there has been no customizations, it will essentially just return back to you whatever you have defined in that extended manifest JSON file. But the main goal here is to make it easy for you to create some kind of UI to tell the user, hey, these are the shortcuts that you have available right now. This is what you can use to invoke the actions in the add-in. And so you can use this getShortcuts method for every user to create that UI that you have. And then the third new API that we're introducing is areShortcutsInUse. So this is going to be very helpful for most of you that are trying to avoid any shortcuts that either Excel is already using in terms of native shortcuts, or there may be other add-ins that your users have that also has other shortcuts that you want to avoid conflicts with. So essentially, you can send in a whole list of shortcut combinations to first check, hey, is this shortcut already in use by this user? And if so, then you can avoid using that shortcuts as part of your replaceShortcuts method. And you can incorporate this into your UI as well. If you have some kind of customization UI where you want to ask the user for a shortcut combination that they want to customize, you can go ahead and first check using this API to see, hey, is there a conflict with the shortcut? And if so, then let your users know, like, hey, can you please pick a different shortcut because this one is already in use. And this is just meant to be a quick check that can help you avoid those conflicts in the future. All right, so those are the three main APIs that we are introducing as part of the Keyboard Shortcuts 1.1 requirement set. We do have a short demo to go through all of these with you, so I'd like to invite the engineers that have been working so hard on these three APIs, Nicole and HJ. So Nicole, please feel free to share your screen and do the short demo if you're ready here.
Okay, thank you, Abid. Let me show my screen. So hi, I'm Nicole. I'm one of the engineers that worked on this together with HJ, and today I'll be demoing the shortcuts and the customization API. So here I've opened a sample dataset, and I will go ahead and, for example, we can select these dates and we can press the shortcut here. We can set the date format by pressing Control-Shift-D, and that will change the date format. Or we can try a different shortcut, such as set color by pressing Control-Shift-O, and it will change the color of the selected grid. Let's say we can also select some text over here and do underline by doing Control-Shift-U. However, there will be a conflict. So we can go ahead and press on getShortcutsInUse, which will tell us that currently Control 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 are not in use. So we can go ahead and replace those shortcuts by pressing the replaceShortcuts button. And now set italic will become Control-Shift-5. Sorry, set underline will be Control-Shift-6. So we can go ahead and do Control-6 and then we'll underline the text. And I also want to show that this setting will persist over in the new workbook. So we can go ahead and close this workbook and open up a new blank workbook. And wait a little for the sample to insert. And then we can press Control-7, which is to open up the task pane. If we do getShortcuts, you can see that the old settings from the customization from the previous workbook will persist over here. And if we want to revert back to the old setting, we can simply press Reset Shortcut. This operation takes a little while, so we're going to give it a few seconds. And we can do getShortcuts again. Sorry, still in the middle. There we go. And then you can see that all the settings have reverted back to before. And if we press Control-Shift down, it will also again show you the conflict, and then we can hide the dialog, and then it will go away. And so that would be the demo of the sample add-in with the customization API. And if we look at the code behind it, I'd like to point out the replace shortcut, reset shortcut, and the print shortcut in use. So over here we have, for replace shortcut, we simply set in a function with a loop over here, assigning control with a number into it. And the replace shortcut takes an array of shortcut key and will assign it to the shortcut to replace it. And as for reset shortcut, as mentioned in the slides as well, we simply need to set the shortcut to be null, and it will revert back to the original change. As well as shortcut in use, we'll simply just get the shortcut over here and then pass it into our shortcuts in use, and then we'll return an array of Boolean of whether or not that shortcut is being used. And I think that concludes the demo. Please let me know if there's any questions.
Awesome. Thank you for that demo, Nicole. Abid, do you want to finish off the section?
Awesome. So just to end off here, so as I mentioned, this Keyboard Shortcuts 1.1 is currently in preview. So that means this is the time for everyone else to please try it out, play around with it. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. If there's any issues, it gives us the chance to fix it. So for GA, we expect to include any of the bug fixes that we find, but you can expect there to not be any major design changes here. I think we are well aligned on the 3 different APIs that we have. So if you have any feedback, let us know. If you have any bugs, please let us know, and feel free to post them in that GitHub repo that I have linked on this slide. So thank you, everyone. That was it for keyboard shortcut customization here.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Abid. And I believe in the chat there were some questions around supporting other hosts such as Word. Is that currently in the roadmap, or are we waiting on preview phase to kind of see how things go?
Yes, that's correct, Alex. So I believe HJ had an answer there. We don't have a plan to extend this for Word or PowerPoint at the moment, but if that is something you want, let us know. Of course, the whole reason we started this for Excel was we had such a high demand from everyone in the developer community. So if you want to see this go on to Word and PowerPoint, please let us know through the chat and through other means of communication here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll share all those different means of communication at the end of the call and through the follow-up blog post. So.